What's up guys, Dmx James coming at you, back in the 343 studios. Got a new product review for you. We got the Dmx control, well, they're calling it the Dmx controller, but it is a wireless dongle transmitter and receiver set. And I'm going to talk to you about that. What's up guys, I got the Vangoa Dmx controller, which is really a wireless DMX transmitter and receiver. You have one transmitter with 7 receivers. I know you guys have seen the box openings on these. I've seen Learning Lizard, he's done them. 343's done them. Another DJ I know on YouTube has done them. And now I'm going to do them too, except I'm going to do it a little bit different. Into mine, I do want to set this up so you guys can kind of see what you're going to get. So, receiver, and wireless transmitter, and 7 receivers. Plus, you still have all of your power packs that you're going to need to run these, because even though they are wireless DMX, these do need to be plugged in. But I've got some thoughts on that also that I'd like to share with you guys. It does have your standard 2.4 gigahertz wireless DMX signals, 7 different color groups, which I really like that because I do have like my up lights have that 7 group color scheme also, and it makes it a little easier for me to be able to set up to do different things at the same time. However, I did try using this transmitter on one of my units to see if it would master and then slave the other one to it. Now, ironically, it did kick on the slave function in my other light. However, it did not actually process the signal that was coming out of the DMX out from my master to the DMX in. So with that being said, the transmitter has to be used on a DMX controller. So in the description this says it's a DMX controller, but as we all know, this is a DMX controller. Now, everyone else that has done a video on this has used a PAR can, and I'm going to go a little bit of a different route. One of my go-to lights is my ADJ StarTech Boombox FX2s, and we'll do a little shoot around here in just a second. You can see I've already got their wireless transmitter plugged into the thing. Even though this is a wireless transmitter board anyways, I wanted to use theirs. I've got the color group in this set to blue. I don't typically set my color groups to red because that is the standard auto default for just about everything else. So if you find yourself having interference with your DMX signals or things along those lines, almost everything else on that 2.4 gigahertz is standard set to red. So I almost never set any of my things to red channel. I mean, that's just a personal preference. You, of course, can do whatever you like. I do want to go through this unit just a little bit before we show you how we've got this set up. And then I'll give you guys a little bit of background on the pros and some cons as far as this system goes. So as you know, we do have the receivers. The receivers all have to be plugged in as well as the transmitter, and you'll see there's a little plug-in adapter for this that you need to plug this in, and it needs to be plugged in while it's in the light to power up the actual unit. And then they give you just a little Allen key here to change the DMX channels. So you'll see there is a light, and then right above it you can switch that and it'll go through your 7 standard color DMX groups. I do, like I said, I do like that we can set these in different groups and have them doing different things. And then as you get into your controller, however, this is not a video on programming your DMX controller. This is a video on the Vangoa DMX controller. All right, so let's go over some of the things I really like. First off, love this case. Love, love, love. Anything that comes in something like this with a dense pack foam cutouts, ready to go, ready to be suited up. If you guys know me and how I do my equipment, I save the packaging so I can make something like this. This product is already coming in that. Love the 7 channels, the 7 color groups. That matches up with just about everything else that I do use. What you get in this, like you've already seen, but this is kind of a really nice setup for what this is, and the price point is right around $200, just a hair over 200 bucks. The one thing that does concern me a little bit about it is that these are not battery operated, which from most people that understand that have the transmitters and receivers, they end up leaving them plugged in anyway, just to assure that their transmitter and receivers will make it through their gig. These do have to be plugged in. But as you'll see in our shoot around, most of our modern lights, especially 𝐍𝐴, these are an ADJ light, and even the 𝐢𝐭 lights and sheds and things along those lines, you do have a power out and a power in, and we'll kind of focus in on that. So that you can see that we do have like a, what do we call an IEC female on this. Now there are fixtures that you can get that will plug right into this, and then not only will you be powering up your light, but you can also power up your DMX, your receiver as well. So you just plug it right into your light. I think that would be super convenient. I know 𝐍𝐴, I believe, does have what they call the Edison fixture. So it's an Edison plug, you standard plug out, and then you have an Edison plug in, whereas these are an IEC. You can go from an IEC male to an Edison female, so that you can plug these right into your fixtures and not necessarily have to run a bunch of extra cabling as far as trying to run the power to these transmitters, to the receivers. That is, a lot of the newer fixtures are going to PowerCon. I have yet to look up. I'm sure they do have a PowerCon to an Edison. So if you do have a power in and a power out, you can actually run these right to the fixture itself, and that way you're not having to run that off to another power strip or a power block or whatever it is you're using to run the majority of your lighting. I know I use power strips when I use my trussing. I have 2 power strip banks, and then I plug everything in, and a lot of times I use these extra outs to run other lights. In this instance, I would use the extra out to power the receivers. Another thing, food for thought, would be if you have a stationary setup. So say, you're running lighting at your church, at your bar, at your nightclub, at, your school theater, whatever that application is, and you had just went ahead and planned to have the power there already, that would not be an issue. Like I said, most of those types of venues that are stationary and aren't necessarily mobile like what I do necessarily would have that already set up. So they'd always be powered on, they'd always be set to the DMX channels you needed them in, and you'd be able to control your house lighting with no problem whatsoever. But I do want to get into a little bit of the functions. Like I said, most people ran par cans, and that's fair because it is a relatively simple light to operate as far as what the program schematics are as far as your DMX controller. I kind of went a different route with that and went ahead and used my ADJ StarTech Boombox FX2s. So I have my transmitter in the board here, plus 2 receivers, 1 in each one, which you've seen in the thing. And we do have some different show setups, so we're gonna get the lights cut out here, and we'll come back from behind on my view here, so you can kind of see what I see as we're running through the shows and some of the programs that we did. Again, keep in mind, this is not a how to program your DMX controller. This is just showing off the Vangoa wireless transmitter and receivers. All right, guys, so as you're kind of behind the scenes here, you can take a look out here, you can see I've kind of got a few different shows programs, scenes, so to speak, and I really like this. Normally I'd run a 25-foot DMX cable, and these two would basically do the exact same thing. But in this scenario, when we push on our show 1, as you'll take a look, we've got this set into like our laser setup. And this is a super cool option for me because I really don't get to play with these lights like this as much. And then we have our scene 2, which is my moving head gobos and these ADJ StarTechs. Now keep in mind, this is running off of their wireless transmitter right into their receivers. They're all set in the same color scheme of blue. And again, as we look back here, you can get the plug-in that'll plug in there and be able to plug your Edison plug right into that. Let's set to our scene 3, which we've got a gobo and a laser situation going on as it's running through the show modes, which is a super cool effect to be able to control this with this system. And then we go into our scene 4, which gives us a little more action, a little more movement, and what have you. Really super fun thing. 5 more receivers here that I can set up different DMX groups. The same 2.4 group, just setting the addresses to do different things to where all of my lighting would coordinate at the same time. Now we do have one more thing that we had programmed in that I'd like to show you, and that would be our chase sequence. So we set the 4 scenes. So we set the chase sequence. So what we'll do is we'll push this on our DMX controller. And so now it's going to chase sequence through the 4 scenes that I set up and keep this show kind of running, which is a super cool thing. And again, this isn't necessarily about the lights. It's not necessarily about this DMX controller itself. It is about the transmitter and the receivers and what you will be able to do with a product like this with your lights and your setups. As we run the speeds up, and you know, you guys get to check out this, you know, what these are going to do with these types of fixtures. But I figured this would be a little more interesting than just doing a par can like everyone else did, and you guys can kind of see exactly how we did this. So give these a look. The Vangoa Dmx Controller Wireless Transmitter, 7 receivers, power blocks. Definitely there's options galore to be able to use these on just about any fixtures you have. As you've seen with what we're doing here, we went a different route. I went ahead and you know, programmed in some scenes on a different type of light so that you guys can kind of get a grasp of like what these will actually do. If you're not using something like this, maybe you should. Wireless DMX technology is up and coming. It is what everyone is trying to do now. I mean, in all honesty, Rockville's making a killing with their wireless DMX, as well as both lighting and a few other different places. And with this technology, you can make any light that you have a wireless DMX option. So the Vangoa Wireless DMX Controller Transmitter, 7 receivers, check them out. This is an amazing product. I think you guys should check it out. Also, look for the link in my description. I will be putting this on there. Also, I believe Vangoa is offering some sort of, there are some discounts on these products when you order through the YouTuber links. And I'll get with you guys with more information on that in the description. But make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.